Hi guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here. Just wanted to, a few people have been asking, having seen the New Year demo, the New Year video about the new rig, and it's now got all the components in place, so I'm just going to give you a quick tour of it. No sounds on this demo, they will be coming very soon, but enjoy. Okay, so we're looking inside the trolley itself. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in there. I've opened the lid up for you. The wiring is a bit of a mess. I haven't got around to tidying that up yet, but so I'll just go through and explain what I've got. It's all driven from the two RJM mini effect gizmos in the front there, and basically signal comes in from the guitar, goes to the top mini effect gizmo, which has 5 loops. It then goes out to the pedal board. From the pedal board it comes back into the bottom mini effect gizmo, and then out to the amplifier. So in loop 1 then we have the Fulltone 69 fuzz. Loop 2 is the Fulltone catalyst, which is set on the spark mode, but with the gain all the way up pretty much. A whole lot of bass and mids, not a lot of treble, and the volume down so it's not driving too much, just past unity. Loop 3 is the Fulltone 70 BC 108C. Again, fuzz is most of the way up, not quite all the way. Mid's just past half, and the volume again quite low. Then loop 4 is the OCD in the back here in HP mode. Drive at 1 o'clock, volume at 11 o'clock, tone about 10:30. And then loop 5 is this Xotic SP compressor. Now I've got the internal dip switch is all set to the down position, so that's got the pad in, and it's got the enhanced treble feature, and at the moment I've got it with the switch in the low position and both knobs at about 1 o'clock. So the 5 loops, it then goes through the noise gate, the MXR smart gate, to get rid of all the noise from all the fuzzes and stuff, and then out to the pedal board. It's worth pointing out that on the mini effect gizmo itself, I'm using the direct in, not the buffered in, and I'm also using the direct out, not the click stop out. So this is basically just completely true bypass. I couldn't use the buffer because in particular the 69 fuzz doesn't like the buffer. Well, the 70 and the catalyst don't particularly like the buffer either. The catalyst not too worried, but in particular the 69, being a quirky old fuzz pedal, or an old design fuzz pedal, is yeah, it mustn't be run after a buffer. As you can see on that pedal, I never went through the controls, and the volume is just past 12, fuzz is all the way up. Input is turned quite a way to the right, about 3 o'clock, contour at 12 o'clock. Can't remember from the manual exactly what that does, but it was just the setting that sounded right with my guitar. So yeah, then we go out to one of these side mounted jacks. Basically the way these work, the front one is the guitar input, the second one is the send to the pedal board, the third is the return from the pedal board, and the fourth is the MIDI out on an XL. It's just a standard XLR connector, so I can use any mic cable to connect to the board. And then the one at the back is the send to the amp. What that also means is that if I want to run the post stuff in the effects loop, I can do that as well, just by patching differently. If I patch straight from the board into the front of the amp, and then click the send into this jack, and the return into the one at the back, that would do the same job but let me use the effects loop of the amp. It isn't something I'm doing at the moment because I prefer the sound of everything in the front, but the option is there. And if I'm not using the pedal board, what I can do is just click a short patch cable between there, and I can just run the rig without the pedal board, so just the stuff on the trolley, and that works nicely too. Okay, so after we've been to the pedal board, we come back in and we feed into the bottom RJM mini effect gizmo. And it's worth pointing out, neither of these are the stock ones in terms of the colours of the LEDs and stuff. Obviously the top one doesn't have any printing on it. It was an ugly duckling one that I got direct from Ron and Sherry. And the bottom one doesn't even have any of the right colour LEDs. It is prototype 1 that I was very grateful to be given by RJM for helping them out at the NAMM show a couple of years ago. So in loop 1 in the bottom mini effect gizmo then, we have, I apologise that it's upside down, but it was the best way to wire it, the Sweet Sound Mofo Vibe. Then loop 2 is the custom audio Electronics MXR boost line driver, set just for a slight boost. I normally have it a little bit beyond that, just at about 5 dB, 5-6 dB. Then loops 3, 4 and 5 are my 3 reverb pedals, because everybody needs 3 reverb pedals. So loop 3 is the Hall of Fame, which is set on the modulated reverb. Then loop 4 is, I think, the Arena reverb, which is the Musician's Friend special model, which is set on their Royal setting, which is quite an expansive one. That might be the other way around, actually, thinking about it. That might be on number 3. If I could be bothered following the cables, I could confirm that, but I can't, so I just go with what sounds good. And finally loop 5 is the Trinity reverb, the Pro Guitar Shop one, and that's on the Ethereal 1 or Ethereal 1 setting. So those 3, and they're all set quite low on the mix control, although for some things when I'm recording I'll just reach in and turn that up, but all the rest of the settings are the same. And then finally, direct from the output of all those, I feed the TC Alter Ego, again a Pro Guitar Shop special. Basically it's a flashback, but it's got a cool Deluxe Memory Man mode on it, and again it's just a nice sounding reverb pedal. It's set really delay pedal, set really quite low for a kind of general delay, and then when I want the big delays I use the ones on the pedal board, which I will come to shortly. Okay, so just coming back out again, there we have, so the whole trolley. You can see the routing, the Palmer Sigma microphone merger boxes for the amp microphones that are in the lid. At the moment I'm only using 2 of them, basically because I'm miking each cab separately and sending it to the desk separately, but for live I can then patch the 2 outputs into the third one, and when I get round to connecting it up there'll be a wire going from that output just to an XLR connector that is in there. I just haven't got around to wiring that up yet, so I just plug in a single mic cable in the back, and the 2 mics on each cabinet are all merged together, so 4 into 1, and that's my feed to the board. Okay, so I'll just now shut this down, and that's then ready for the amps. Okay, so then the pedalboard portion of the rig, which comes in between the 2 effect gizmos in the amp trolley, signal comes then into the Xotic EP booster, which is set all the way down, and it just gives a kind of magic sparkle, really. It's about the only way to describe it. And the EP booster is running at I think it's just under 18 volts. I think it's about 15 or 16 volts, somewhere around there. This is all powered from a Berkey flatliner, but it's a tone bone modified one, so it's 2 of the taps modified for higher voltage. So yeah, it's running off one of those, so I think that's coming in at about 15-16 volts, somewhere around there. And from there we go into my trusty Morley Bad Horsey wah pedal. That's the Bad Horsey 1 Steve Vai wah. And then from the wah we go into, if you can see it, there's a third RJM mini effect gizmo under there, under the delay pedals, and this is a stock one. So this is the only stock one of the 3 mini effect gizmos I currently have. And again, I'm in the unbuffered one, so I'm basically using the EP booster as my buffer, rather than the RJM buffer. Not that the RJM buffer isn't great, but I like the EP booster for it. It just sounded slightly better to me, so there we go. So the 5 loops then on the mini effect gizmo. Loop 1 is my Eddie Van Halen Phase 90, which is at the moment got the speed all the way down and the script button in, which again is kind of how I like to run it. Then loop 2 is the MXR Custom Badass 78 distortion, if I can find an angle where it's not just fully covered in light. And crunch mode is off, and all the controls are about 10 o'clock, and that's set for quite a low gain sound. I tend to stack pedals quite a lot, but I can use this board standalone if I'm playing at church or something and I don't want to take the trolley with me. I have the 3 gain pedals all set reasonably low on this, so that on their own they're quite subtle. Or I can stack a couple of them on this board, or I can stack one on the trolley and one on the board, which is something I do quite a lot. So that's loop 2. Loop 3 then is the modified OD. Again, bump is off. The knobs, as you see them, gain at 9 o'clock, 100 Hz at 10 o'clock, tone at about 1 o'clock, and output just below 12, around 11:30. Loop 4 then is the TC Spark Booster, which I have been very pleasantly surprised by. Yeah, it was free. I sort of heard mixed reviews about it, but it's just a really nice sounding pedal. It's like a subtle gain box, really. I've got it in the mid boost mode, with the gain at about 10 o'clock. Level at 11, bass at 11, treble at 1, and that just gives me a very subtle bit of grind, but just a slight level boost as well, and just really makes the guitar come alive. And then finally the final loop is this my Corona Chorus, again TC Electronic, and that's on a tone print mode, and I think it's the Steve Morse tone print. But I could be mistaken. I can't remember what tone print I've got loaded in at the moment, but it was one that sounded good. And the effects level is about 10 o'clock, speed and depth at 12 o'clock, and tone at 1 o'clock. And that feeds back into the effect gizmo, which then goes to the Morley Little Alligator volume pedal, which has been my volume pedal of choice for a long time. And from there we feed into the 2 delays. Delay 1 is the TC Nova repeater. Again, let's find that's where the light isn't in it. And I've got this on tape for dotted 8th notes with tap tempo and stuff like that. Spillover is off. And that's mounted on top of the mini effect gizmo, that on the carbon copy, so that I can press the buttons on the Mastermind fine. The RJM Music Mastermind, the custom blue one, very cool, which is my MIDI controller of choice, and I can kind of I can still operate those buttons, but I can also reach the tap tempo and such things really easily. And from there it feeds into the, and again I'm struggling with the light, I apologise, the MXR carbon copy analog delay. As you can see, I've swapped the delay time knob for a larger knob. I think I swapped it with the one on my smart gate, so I can control that with my foot. It's just easy to reach down and grab. Regen at 9 o'clock, mix just past 9 o'clock, mode on, and that is that and the knob repeater are the only two pedals that I turn on and off manually. They're not programmed in, so that's kind of this. The Nova repeater is kind of my go-to kind of rhythmic delay kind of thing, and then the carbon copy is what I use for solos, basically. And as I said, we've seen the Mastermind as the MIDI controller, and I think every pedal in the rig is powered independently, although it's possible that the couple of the Fulltone pedals may be powered off the same 18 volt tap. I'm not certain. And I just need to plug the microphones back in, but that's kind of the Trolley with the amps on, the amp and the two speakers on. The one which the Egnater logo got slightly knackered in the, it snapped off in the car, has a Celestion green backing, G12 M25, and the left hand cab is the stock G12 H30 from Celestion. And the two speakers together just combine nicely. It's something I really like, the combination of. So there we go, that is the rig. Sound demos coming very soon indeed.